Production of employment. India GDP growth slows to 5 years low at 5.8 percentage, flows behind China. India's economic growth rate slowed to 5.8 percentage in January to March 2018 to 19 due to the poor performance in agriculture and manufacturing sectors. Like official data released on May 31st said the growth in gross domestic product was slowest since 2014 to 15. This previous loss was 6.4 percentage in 2013 to 14. Sectors of economic. There, those activities are broadly categories so as follows: agriculture and related activities such as fishing, foresting, mining, whether natural has a dominant role in the producing process, manufacturing process, another industries, whether goods are produced by peoples using tools or machines, and those activities that do not result in a good but previous service that they are received the production of another service for the peoples. Domestic product. Suppose there are two families, a rich family and a poor family. We can make such judgments as rich or poor based on the dress people in the family wears, the vehicles they use to travel, the food they eat, the house they live in, furnitures, and another equipment they have, hospitals they go to for treatment, etc. Alternatively, incomings that those furnitures earn in an important overall indicators for the country as a whole. We use to total value of final goods and service produced in the country during the year has the indicators of incoming for the country. The tectonic theme is to denote the value of gross domestic product, means GDP. How did we estimate GDP? People's earned in various economic activities in the A1 sector produce has large number of goods and services. What we decide to find out how many final goods and services are produced during a year. With a many has thousands of goods and services being produced by mid, you might think this is an impossible task. Not only would the task be enormous, you might also wondered how we can add up the total number of cars, computers, mobile phones, service, airports. It does not make sense. To get around the problems, economists suggest that the values of final goods and services should be used rather than adding up the actual numbers. For example, if thousands kilograms of paddy are sold at rupees to 25 per kg, the total value of paddy will be a 2 lakh 550,000. The value of 5,000 coconuts at rupees 10 per coconut will be rupees 50,000. It is necessary to coconut collect every goods or service that are has produced a sold. How did we estimate the total value of goods and service? Take for instance a farmer who sells paddy to a rice mills for rupees 25 per kg. She sells 100 kilograms of paddy. Let us assume that he would not have to buy any seeds. The total value of paddy produced by her is rupees 2500. The rice mill takes out rice and sells 80 kilograms of rice to be hotel for rupees 40 per 40 per kg, and 20 kilograms of hook at the rupees 20 per kg. The total value of goods produced by the rice millers is 80 into 40 plus 20 into 20 is equals to rupees 3600. This is what the hotel pays the rice mills. The hotel makes the hotel owner by using the rice and hook, making out rupees 50,000 from the sales of idli and dosa. Goods such as a paddy, rice and hook in the example at the intermediately stage. They are not being used by the final consumer. They are used as input to make a final good, which is this example is idli and dosa. If one were to add the value of the physical input in between plus the value of the final goods, we would be double continue. The value of final goods already include the value of all the difference of intermediate goods that are used in making a final goods. At such stage of procedure paid for those inputs produced by someone force. Hence, the value of rupees 5000 through the hotel itself sold the hotel final good already include rupees 3600. The value of rice and hook was the physical input. This was not made by the hotel hotelier, but he only punched them from the rice miller. Similarly, the rice and hook produced by the millers at rupees 3600 already include the value of physical input paddy rupees 2500 punched by him. He do not have produced paddy, but the farmers produced this in stage 1. To collect the value of the rice and paddy separately means counting the value of the same things and a number of times. First a paddy, then an rice and hook, and finally has idli and dosa. The good comes finally it, if it is not used further in producing goods to score. In the above examples, if the rice had been brought by the families for the consummation, this would be the final point. Idli and dosa would be made by the families for themselves and not as good to sell. Another way of looking at this stage in this force only the value of adding at every step by the producer of the food. To find out the values adding the producer to the physical input punched by him, we will look at the above example. Surveys are produced by doctors, teachers, lawyers, bankers, IT sectors, etc. But since they would not be produced some tangible goods, how should the service be included in the GDP? So in this case of service, the incoming and by the accounting for these sectors in adding to the GDP, it makes sense only to include the value adding at each stage or to take the value of final goods and service. The value of final goods and service produced in such a sector during a particular year produce the total production of the sector for that year, and the sum of production of the three sectors gives what is called grossing domestic product, GDP of the country. It is the value of the final goods and services produced within a country during a particular year. You may have noticed that the GDP futures figures are given for the 2013 to 14. This means the future figure are pertaining to April 2013 to March 2014. This period is also called the financial year. GDP crossed the market value of the all financial goods and services produced, but there are all many type itself that are not sold punched in the market. One important example is the work that it is done at home, like cooking, cleaning, organizing, bringing up children's, and tending the plants and clat, etc. In most instances, that do not involve any moderate translation, and the phones force remain outside the GDP measure through they are extremely important for the economic. Also, the unpaid workers is done mostly by the women even today in India and crossing the global. Challenges in the importance of sectors, value of goods and services produced by employment of peoples. So far, we know how to size of GDP has increased over the year as more goods and services are produced. It is established to know how to increase to place and what kind of activities contributed so more to this growth of GDP. It has been noticed that many of now de- developed countries had agriculture and another allied activities has the most important contributor of GDP during the internal stages of development. Has the method of farming changed a agriculture sector behind to purpose? It produces much more food than before. Many people who who now be taken up another activities and stable full requirement were made by the another producer. There were increasing number of graph persons and traders buying and selling activities increasing many times of further increasing a demand of goods and service. Beside rulers employed large number of peoples has administrators, armies, etc. However, at the stage in the overall context, most of the goods produced whether from agriculture, the related sectors, and most peoples was also employed this in these sectors. In the past 50 years, there have been a further shelter of industrialist service sectors for developed countries. The service sectors has become the most important sectors in the team of total producing. Most of the working peoples has also made a shelter has are now employed in the service sector, and most of the producing activities are those are servicing and not manufactured goods. This is general pattern observed the development countries. It is similar pattern observed in India too. Employment, the work life in India. The GDP of country has a close relationship with the total number of working peoples in the country. In every country has population increased. It is established that the country provides opportunity for those who are looking for working. According to Chooses of India 2011, out of the 10 million peoples in India, 460 millions of peoples are working. It peoples engaged in some productive activities. Ununiform unfortunately in India, when there has been a change in the share of three sectors in GDP, has similar shelters have not taken place in employment. The agriculture sectors continues to be the largest employers even now. Why would not employ shelters out the agriculture sectors? It is because not enough jobs were created to the industrials and service sectors. More than half of the workers in the countries are working in the agriculture sectors, producing only one sixth of the GDP. In constant star, this the industrials of service sectors producing three-fourths of the GDP, whether has the employed only about half the proportion of the works. Does that mean that the workers in agriculture are not producing as much their hood? It means that there are more peoples in agriculture, but everyone may not be full occurred occupied. So even if a few people moves out, producing of will be not afraid. In this way, more number of peoples are engaged than required in agriculture. This is called as disputed unemployment. Take the case of small farming. Take the case of the small farming Gayatri, who owns about 2 hectares of unrected land, depends on only on rain and growing crops like jowar and red gram. All five members are her family works on leopard throughout the year. They have no weather enough to go for work. You will see that everyone is working. No man ile would be, but in actual fact, their labor's efforts gets divided. Each one is doing some work, but no one can full employed. This is the situation of peoples who are underemployment. Whether peoples are uprightly working by, but all of them are made to work less than their prudent. This kind of underemployment is hidden in constants to someone who does not have a job, and it is clearly vision as unemployment. Supposing a land grows has landlord hires or two or more members of the family to work on his land. Gayatri's family is now able to earn some extra income through the wage. Since you do not have 5 people to took after the work flat, two people's moving out does not affect producing of their farm. In one example, 2 people have moved to work in factor or rand. Once again, the ends of family who increase their hood also continues the produce of much from their land. There are lack of farmings in Gayatri's in India. This means that even in several peoples of agriculture sectors are providing with proper work. And if proper work, agriculture producing will not suffer in incoming of the peoples who take up another work, could increasing the total family income. This underemployment can also happen in the some sectors. For examples, there are thousands of causing workers in sectors, service sectors in are urban areas was searching for the daily employment. There are employed as painters, plumbers, re-repair persons and another during old jobs. Many of them does not find work every day. Similarly, we see another peoples of servicing sectors on the tractor pushing of carts and selling someone's whether they have spent a whole day but earn very little. They are doing this work because they would not have better opportunities. When service sector has been grown, all service sectors activities are not growing equally well. Service sectors in India employs many different kinds of peoples. At one end, there are limited number of service that employ highly skilled and educated workers. As the another end, there are a large number of workers engaged in service such as small shopkeepers, repair persons, transport persons, and etc. Those peoples bring manage to earn living and where they performs their service because no alternative opportunity for work and able to them, hence only a part of their sector of growing of in importance. Organized and unorganized sectors employment in India. So far, we have seen how different sectors contribute to GDP of India and also released the comparative importance of the three sectors. This helps us to embrace the shelters that take place or do not take place of the both producing of employment. For our country which does not see sustaining shelters in employment of a crop, this we can another method of stratification focusing on the nature of employment. The certification discussed below employs emphasize the problems of employment and the conditions of work even more scarcely. 92 percentage of workers in India are found in unorganized sectors and only 8 percentage found works in organized sector. Organized sector covers those enterprise of places of working. Organized sectors cover those enterprises of places of work, whether the teams of employment are regular or and therefore people have another work. They are decided by the government and have to follow its rules of the regulation with which are given in the variation list such as fertilizer at minimum wage at shops and establishment at etc. It is an organized sector because it has some formula process of producing. Workers in the organized sectors enjoy security of employment. There are expect to work for only for mixed number of hours. If they are work more, they have to pay overtime of the employer. They also get civil another benefits of from the employer. They get paid leave payment during holidays, provide funds, etc. They are supposed to get medical benefits and under the law the employer has been earned fertilizer like during water and safe working environment. When they regnate, many of those workers get punishes as well. People who work in the government or the companies, a large establishment, are all the organized sector. The unorganized sector is characterized by small on scattered units which have remained largely outside the control of the government. They are ruled a regulation, but they are all not followed or unfollowed forced jobs. Jobs here are no low paid and not regular. There is a no punishes of overtime, paid leave, holidays, leave due to the sickness, etc. Employment is not service. People can ask to leave without any reason. When this is less work during some seasons, some peoples may be asked to leave. A lot also depends on the whims of employers or changes in the market. The organized sectors often jobs that are most softly after, but the employment opportunities in the organized sector has been expanding very slowly. As a result, the large number of workers are forced to enter the unorganized sectors jobs which pay very low salary. They are often exploiting and not paid a huge wage that their their earn are low and not regular. When workers lost their jobs in organized sectors, they are focused by take up jobs of unorganized sectors with low on earning. Besides, we need more work. They also need for a protection of support and support of the workers in unorganized sector.